Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me again. I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about uh, some top items that I believe everyone should have when SHTF happens, and it's already started to be in process, but we haven't gotten to the point of the 100% food crisis, but it's coming, which I've been telling you guys since last summer. It is coming. So I'll just give you my top 11 to 15 items that I think are really important to have and talk a little more about what I have myself, and none of my information is to be considered legal or medical information. I like to toss that in there so I don't get any more strikes on my channel. Um, but the things that I share are things that I do, so I'm just sharing my experience with you, especially those things that have helped me and helped turn my own health and well being around. Number one on the list, water. I know it may seem like the captain obvious thing to have water, but how many people really have some water stocked up? You can go to the store, you can buy bottled water, you can fill jugs of water and have it, in your fridge or to the side. You can get those big old Culligan type water containers full of water and store them somewhere. But if you live in a multifamily housing like I do, I'm in a condo. I have a neighbor above me and beneath me and next door, and my storage options are limited aside from my storage space that I have downstairs. So I have to be extra creative in how I do things and what I have so that I still have what I need and can make it for a decent amount of time with what I have, um, but not hindering my own personal lifestyle and my own comfort level at home. So, water is important. Take my glasses off. Um, and yes, I do have water stored, even though you may not see it stacked up behind me to the ceiling because I don't roll like that. Because things do fall over, and if you stack and store things in a hoarding type of a manner, and I know people don't like the H word, but hoarding does happen. Sorry about that. When people get anxious or excited about what's going on around them, sometimes people will hoard. We know at the beginning of the pandemic, people were hoarding toilet paper like it was going out of style. So it happens. So get the things that you need, but without going overboard and being really bizarre, and just get the things that you need. So yes, I do have water stored up. One of my viewers, mentioned to me that they couldn't see the water that I had, so they assume that I don't have anything, and I must be in pretty grave situation. But no, I am prepared. I am stored up. I do have what I need to last an ample amount of time. And aside from having bottled water and stored water in that kind of way, because that water I would eventually have to drink and replace, because otherwise water does get stale. After a while, it really does get stale. Um, I also have the Berkey. I have a life straw for if I'm out and about somewhere, something happens and I have no other access to water, I can use that life straw in in the stream or uh, out at the lake right down the road from me and be okay, because it really does work and it really does filter out um, all the icky stuff. And I have the Berkey, which is excellent too. It filters out the icky stuff too, but that is the stay at home situation where it's on the counter. Put the water in, let it work through and trickle its way down, and I have fresh water that I can use to drink or for preparing my food or refilling my containers for the refrigerator. Next on my list, canned meat. If you're not vegan, if you're vegan or vegetarian or whatever, this part may not apply to you, but for us meat eaters, canned meat is a good backup option. As you know, this is April 9th, 2022. As you may already know, or if you've watched my videos before, you may have heard me already talk about the H1N1 virus, which is the bird flu, and how in the state of Minnesota, the governor has said that there's a ban on selling of any poultry products through May 1st of this year. Because it started off with like 5 counties having 376,000 birds with the H1N1 virus, and then it quickly multiplied. 2 days later, there were 7 counties, and then another day after that, there were 13 counties, and it quickly spread all across the state. So when I went to the store today, and I did go and shop and spend a little bit today, um, there was no chicken, no turkey in that particular store. Yay, I'm glad people are following the governor's order on that. There were no eggs, not even liquid eggs, in that particular store. Can't say that for all the other stores because I didn't go around to every store, but the store that I went to was lacking those things. But it was also lacking like beef. I wanted to get a beef roast to be able to cook it and cut it up and store and have it put away so that that meat would last for a longer period of time, because when you're cooking for one, you can stretch that stuff and make it last. It's different from cooking for 3 or 4 or however many people. And I'm trying to be penny wise and also to not be pound foolish. So, canned meats. So I was looking through the store and they did have some canned luncheon meat. They didn't have a lot of it. There were actually a lot of people in the store, which is not common for that particular store. Um, but there were a lot of people in the store today when I went. Um, so I did get like 4 cans of the canned luncheon meat, but it's like $2.25 a can. A little bit more than I was expecting to spend per can. But hey, what can I say? And it's not the Spam brand, it's just a generic brand of luncheon meat. But they're pretty similar in flavor and consistency, except that this, generic brand tends to be a little higher in sodium, like 26% sodium per serving. 6 servings in this. So that'll give you some idea. I mean, and you want to compare this to my hand? There you go. Oh, but then I also got some corned beef hash, which was actually a little cheaper than the luncheon meat, and the sodium level in the corned beef hash is really high, 42%. And I have been keeping my sodium level down and my sugar down because I try not to take things into my body that are not really necessary, and especially if you have like high blood pressure or those kind of situations going on, you have to really pay attention to what you're doing and what you're preparing and be moderate on the amount of those items that you take in. And 1 can of this corned beef hash is supposed to be considered 1 serving. But because the sodium level is so high in this, if I prepared it, I would only eat half of a can and put it with something else. If I'm preparing the whole can, then I'm preparing it for me and someone else because that's just too much salt for me to have as one person by myself. But it's still good to have a few of these so that I can have what I need if I'm hankering for some meat and there's none in the freezer or the refrigerator. Next on my list, canned veggies and fruits. And as I said, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I like to go to the farmers market and different markets and places where I can get fresh produce, and then I will clean it and cut it up and I dehydrate it so that way it can be put away. I have a lot of that put away, but it's still nice to have as fresh as possible and to have some that's fresh that you can eat right away. Um, so today I didn't get much of that sort of thing. I did um, got some cilantro and some lemons because lemons are good. You can take those lemons and use them in tea, or you can slice up a lemon and put it in some boiling water and let it boil for like an hour or so, and add a little honey to it and drink it down, especially if you're having a lot of congestion and stuff. This is just old school stuff from grandma and them. So things that seem to have worked for me. And as I said, not giving any medical advice, just talking about food and talking about what's worked for me and helped me in some previous situations. And to have canned veggies and canned fruit means that even if you have the fresh, you can eat the fresh now. And if it becomes a total lockdown crisis on the food, which I seriously believe is going to happen by June or July this year, you can have a little something stored up. Just don't be wasteful with what you have. Really try to follow the guidelines on the product and regarding serving sizes, because in America we tend to just be like, well, yeah, I'm just gonna eat all of this. Oh crap, I'm tired. I don't want any more of this. So the rest of it I'm gonna throw away. This is not really a time to be throwing away stuff. It's a time to be mindful and really keep an eye on how much you are eating. Hopefully some of you are gardening or doing some preparation in that way. Unfortunately, anything that I grow outside around my building, the soil is polluted. So I can't really eat any of the things that would grow around my building. University came out, tested the soil, and said, you can plant some pretty flowers, but I wouldn't advise anyone to eat anything that comes out of that ground or they're going to be sick. So I do the hydroponic gardening indoors. I got two veg box systems, and I can grow my spinach and I can grow my little cherry tomatoes and other veggies and things, basil and oregano, and I can grow my herbs and different things and have it and eat it fresh right here in my home. So I don't worry so much about not seeing those things in the store or the price of those things going up in the store, because I can handle my business on that on my own here at home. And a wise person stores up just to be prepared. Just like the ants that prepare, they get the food and they prepare. Squirrels find nuts and they start digging holes and burying it. And if they see that you are watching them when they bury that, they'll go back and dig it up, take it out of that hole, find another place, dig another hole, and bury it again, so that they have what they need when the seasons change and the food is not readily available right out in their face. Next thing on my list is dry packaged meals. And by that, I mean something like this is a Alfredo pasta side dish. It's like got an Alfredo cheesy sauce that can be prepared easily with water and then can be added with some meat or vegetables or whatever. So things like that, or you can get your little hamburger helper or other stuff, but I can't guarantee that there's going to be a whole lot of the hamburger and stuff in the stores by the time summer comes. Something to think about. I can't really even guarantee about the pasta because it seemed like when I was in the store today, there was a lot of emptiness, which there's been emptiness before, but now the emptiness seems to be growing, especially in the meat sections and, you know, and the things that were available, like the luncheon meat. I, when I went in, I thought, well, I can just get a whole tray of luncheon meat. Well, there wasn't that much. And there were a lot of people in the store. So I just grabbed four rather than taking the whole thing where nobody else can come in and get any luncheon meat. I just worked with it that way. So Those dry packaged meals are a quick and easy thing that someone can prepare to eat. If you get it through one of the emergency preparedness companies where it comes in the big bin with the lid on it, it may look the same, but it's going to be calorie dense, where you can eat that one serving, and that one serving may have 2,000 or 3,000 calories. And I've tried it before. It does taste good, but it was a lot of calories in that one serving, as opposed to having 470 calories in this. Peanut butter. Not for the nut fans or people that have nut allergies or whatever, but like for me, peanut butter is always a good thing to have because it's an easy go-to thing. And if I were to be sick like I was before when I got the Rona at the beginning of the pandemic, it was something that was easy that I could put on a spoon and lick it and get some nutrients in me until I was able to breathe a little bit better and do other things. So next on my list is dry oats and grains. Oh, so like packaged oats, packaged oatmeal. You can get it in packages like this. You can get it in the cardboard tubes with the lid on. Oatmeal is a good go-to food. You can get instant oatmeal. You can have the regular slow cooking oatmeal. You can get granola, which is basically kind of like oatmeal with dried fruit and stuff in it, and then you just boil it with some water. You can eat it dry or boil it with some water or whatever. That's an easy go-to thing to have, and it's an easy enough thing to store and put away. Dried grains such as pelted wheat, so it's crushed wheat pellets. Flour is going to become really, really, really difficult to find in the store. There wasn't that much in the store I was in this morning. There was 5 or 6 packages of flour and a few packages of sugar, bags of sugar. Wasn't a lot. So I like getting these kind of things because, well, for one thing, not a lot of people are looking at this, and or it appears anyway. And this is something that's workable, something that I can work with and make a healthy portion for my meals. Oil is next on my list. Oil is important because I can use oil when I'm cooking. I can use oil if I need it to make a sort of an oil lamp. You have to be really careful with that kind of stuff. If you don't know what you're doing, it's better to work with a candle or flashlight or other things. But oil is a multi-purpose thing. I was planning on getting some lard today. Nice big container of lard, the old school way. They didn't have any in the store. There was none. None, none, none. So, knowing that I need a little bit, it's not like I'm going to be going overboard with the frying, but needing a little bit to even prepare the things that I have to prepare at home. I can use the air fryer if I need to for some things, but some things I just like to take the frying pan and have a little bit of oil in it and do what I got to do and keep going. Next on my list is rice. Rice comes in many forms. You know, you got the saffron rice, we got the long grain, medium short grain, we got wild rice, white rice, and a little bit of everything. There's a lot of options. There's minute rice for people that want it to be that quick cooking rice that's in the box. I just go for the cheaper, get the bags, take my time, do it the old school way because I can get more for the money and it's easier to stack because I can get those yellow, those plastic shoebox containers that you get at the dollar store or Target or other places. And I can stack those packages of rice right in there, put the lid on it, put it up in the shelf. Later, fill another one. put it right over top of that, so that way they're closed, they're sealed, and they're orderly, so that when you open up your cupboards, you're not going to have food falling out in your face. I don't know why my radiator is clinking today, because the temperature's actually gone up. It's in the 50s right now, I believe. 50s or 60s. Anyway, next on my list is coffee. Coffee is important to me because that's something that I drink every day. Um, Coffee is actually good for you. If you have it in moderation, it can be good for you. But as I mentioned in videos last summer, the price of coffee would be going up because only 1/3 of the harvest of the coffee beans was able to be taken in last year. And with that being the case, it's a supply and demand issue because the rest of that had like bacteria and had gone bad. They couldn't take any of that in. So it's like get it while the price is right. Put it up, especially if you're a serious coffee drinker. Get it while the price is right. Get a bag. Or if you already need a bag, get 2 bags just so that you have a little extra for if you should need it. Some other things that you could get. Thinking not only preparedness, but also comfort and keeping some aspects of your life to stay regular while we're going through all these changes. Like pancake mix, I just get the just add water version because there are other versions where you got to add your water, you got to add your milk, you got to add your eggs. And given the supply and demand issue, unless you have powdered eggs or, powdered milk and other things, you might find some challenges in using those other mixes. Not saying that you can't, but for simplification, that's what I did. I just got the just add water version. And of course, I got one thing of syrup to go with that. Because what's pancakes without syrup or strawberry preserves? Could always do strawberry preserves or other things and keep it, as simple as possible and easily storable as possible. Next on my list in the area of comfort is during SHTF, one of the things that I'm concerned about is comfort. Because just because you're going through doesn't mean you don't have to be comfortable. You want to be able to continue on living your life, doing the things that you need to do, and you want to be comfortable. I hope. I want to be comfortable. So, what do I get that gives me comfort? Aside from the coffee, I get chocolate. And not just any chocolate, I get the big bars. So I go to the store where there are the big bars. And, I like raisin nut. So, of course, I got the raisin nut. It's like one of my favorites. And that's milk chocolate. Somebody's probably saying, well, chocolate's not really good for you, blah, blah, blah. Well, me, it's okay if you're eating it in moderation. And milk chocolate, I have to do in moderation. But my doctor told me that it was okay for me to have dark chocolate. So, I got 2 of them, dark chocolate. And one is dark chocolate with almonds, and the other one is just a plain dark chocolate. And I know someone's probably making the yuck face about eating dark chocolate, but dark chocolate is good for your heart, number one. Number two, this isn't like super, super, super dark chocolate, because I've had 90% cacao, which is like really bitter, tart flavored dark chocolate. But this isn't that. This is 49% cacao. Both of these. They're dark chocolate, but they're 49% cacao, so they still have some sweetness and flavor to them, even though they are dark chocolate, and it's more enjoyable. So if I'm going through and under any amount of stress, sometimes I want that comfort food. This is an easy comfort food that if I can get one or two or three of these gigantic bars that are bigger in my hand, I can bring them home, I can put them up, and then as needed, I can have that for my enjoyment. Next on my list, hygiene products. Going through all this stuff, we gotta stay clean. We gotta stay clean, gotta stay active, gotta still be able to do all the things that we need to do every day. So things like toilet paper, of course, is a number one on the list because we always need toilet paper. We also need soap to be able to clean our bodies, toothpaste, toothbrush. Get those things while you can, especially toothbrush and toothpaste. You can go to the dollar store and pick up those things at a lower price, and have a backup of that kind of stuff. I don't, not meaning that you have to buy out the entire store because hopefully it's not going to be like 10 years worth of chaos, but do try to have an extra tube of toothpaste, a couple extra toothbrushes, things like that. So you can be able to clean your body, clean your teeth, have fresh breath, feel better in your overall disposition. Because when you feel better, you're able to accomplish more and continue to be professional and do the things that you need to do out in the world. Also, shampoo to keep your hair clean. You do want to have those necessary things, or if there's other hygiene things that a person may need, shavers and whatnot, try to get a little bit of that stuff too so that you can have it put up. Um, Next on my list is cleaning products. Um, and that comes in many forms, of course. For dishes, you're going to need some dish detergent. For cleaning your home, or if there ends up being another um, pandemic or another kind of viral outbreak or whatever, you may want to have some spray cleaner that disinfects. You may want to have this kind of a spray cleaner that you use along with your cleaning cloths to scrub and purify things. You may want to have hand sanitizer too, and of course you're going to want to have clean clothes, so you'll need to have some laundry detergent in one form or another. Have it put up so that you have what you need and you can make it through. When you get your laundry detergent or things like that, I don't care where you get it from or what kind you use because everybody has to use whatever fits their own personal preference. But do look at whatever container you get and think about it in your mind. How long will this container last me? If you're using the liquid, it may last you a certain amount of time. If you're using the pods, it may last a certain amount of times. And like this container holds 42 pod capsules or pack capsules, pods, whatever. And how many of those pods do I put in with a load of laundry? And how long will that last me? How often am I doing laundry? You want to have stuff to last. I mean, at a minimum, trying to get things so that you have what you need for a month and then double that to 2 months and then make it 3 months. Try to get to 6 months. You know, if you're able to get to a year or 2 years worth of supplies, more power to you. That's really awesome. It's difficult for a lot of us that are living in multifamily housing, right? Apartments, condos, townhomes, to have that kind of storage space or the creativity or places to put things, but there are still some options that are available. Um, that's where creativity comes in. If you have those big rubber bins with the lids, the large ones, you can use those to store some of your prep items and put them away. If your bed is higher off the floor, you can push them under your bed and get as many under your bed as you can in a row. Boom, 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 boom. If you got room in the closet up under where your clothes are hanging, push them jokers down under there. If you have a storage space in the basement of your building, or if you have a separate location somewhere where you can store stuff, more power to you. Move that stuff and stack it. Try to label stuff too so that you know what's in each container. Otherwise, you're going to be opening up and throwing everything around trying to find a pencil or whatever. So just be mindful of those things and try to have everything in order because today was only a reminder of what I had seen before at two or three other stores that I had gone to, which I had already done videos and all that. I won't go through all that again. The front lining, where to put everything right there on the front, and you take the first thing, and there's nothing but emptiness behind there. Today is another reminder of that. It was a reminder to have your stuff together and have it in order. Prices are going up, and quantity and availability of products is going down. They did have staff working a few registers in the store, but I'm looking around waiting to see when somebody's going to roll out and bring some stuff to put on this shelf that's completely empty over here. And it didn't happen. There was nothing to put on that shelf. So it's work with what you got and recognize that you are not the only one out there looking at stuff, trying to put stuff back or whatever. If you have an opportunity to go to a neighborhood or community grocer that may have some items that they may have some stuff that's kind of on its last leg where it's on the discount table or you know fruit or vegetables that might need to be used by X date or whatever. Check them out and see what the quality is of each item or the condition. If it's a little spot, you can buy that for few pennies off. Cut off the bad part, use up the other part. If you have a dehydrator or you want to dry your foods out in the oven, you can do that so that that doesn't get to be wasted. Because then you can have it and you can put it up and use it when you need to use it. Like I do with the beets and the onions. Get one sack of onions and slice and dice it and dehydrate all of that. And those onions last me 6 months. That one bag. But if I left them fresh, it lasts me not even a month because they'd start to turn and go bad and then I'd have to throw them away. And why throw away and waste when I can be just having those things put up that I need to be put up? There are people out there that have garden space and have a house with backyard and front yard and they have more options than some of us other prepsters are. You know, some of us are waiting to see, okay, where are the garden plots at and can I rent that lot for a dollar this year so that I can grow my own tomatoes and this and that and other, and then I'll come back and I'll clear up my stuff from that space when my time is up. Some of us may be taking a flower pot or whatever from here or from there that we might be going to Home Depot or Menards or the hardware store or whatever and buying a potted pepper plant or tomato plant or whatever and bringing it and putting it in our kitchen or our dining room and just having like a little TV tray to the side and putting that stuff right there, watering it, giving it light from either from a window or having our own grow light, trying to grow our own stuff. But let's try to be more self sufficient and more prepared. And it's easy to say, I don't feel like it. I'm tired. But you'll suddenly feel like it when it seems like your stomach is eating its way through to your back. When you get hungry, you get motivated for those things, or else you become so weak that you're incapable of handling stuff yourself. So why not be prepared? That way you can grow what you need, purchase what you're able to, organize your cupboards where things are in order according to their best buy date, and use what you need to use. And do realize that the best buy date does not mean that everything is absolutely horrible once it reaches that date. That is just the date for the best quality of certain foods. But I can do a separate video on that later because I can go in more detail about the different types of food and the sell by date and the best buy date and the manufacture date and what all those things mean and how the quality of each food item changes when it reaches that date. So, thank you for taking some time to listen to me ramble on about my very short shopping list today. Well, 22 items. 22 items, spent $50. I think that was about as good as it was going to get for me today. But I did buy pizza just as something, a comfort food type of a thing. But the thing is, if you buy a deluxe size take and bake pizza, and if you're cooking for one, you can, before you even cook that, you can cut it up into 8 large pizza slices, wrap those other pieces up, put them away so they stay in the freezer until you're ready to really have that. And the price that was paid for that one large pizza goes a lot further. And if you've noticed anything about ordering out for pizza lately, the price has gone up exponentially. Um, but that extra large or deluxe take and bake pizza used to be $5 at this particular store, but it was $6.49 today. Still can't complain because it's big, and that one pizza became servings of food for 8 meals for me instead of just one. Thank you for joining me today, and don't be scared. Just stay prepared or get prepared if you're not prepared yet. Think about what you have, get things organized, and know that things are coming down the pike, and we just have to seriously be ready for ourselves, for our family members, and we have to have a plan in place and know what we're going to do with what we have. So it doesn't make any sense to have stuff and not know how to use it or how to eat it or prepare it or get stuff that you're not really going to use. Treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Get things that you like, things that you'll eat, things that you'll enjoy or you want to share with your family or your friends, and put those things away. And then you can work on what creative things you can do with those things that you have. But thank you again for joining me today, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.